fellow carbon-based bipeds. I am Scott Rose, and you are watching Explosions and Stuff. Today, I'll be reviewing the 1992 film Hard Hunted, starring Donna Spear, Roberta Vasquez, Bruce Penhall, and R.J. Moore. But first, a word from our sponsors. An overview of the movie? After international criminal Kane gets his hands on a trigger for a nuclear bomb, it's up to agents Donna Hamilton and Nicole Justin to get it back. However, somewhere along the lines, Agent Hamilton is kidnapped, and the rest of the team must find and rescue her. Not only that, but a member of the team is actually a double agent working for Kane. The pros of this movie? Well, first of all, this movie knows exactly what it is. This is a girls with guns movie. You're watching this movie because you want to see attractive women in skimpy clothing shooting guns and blowing stuff up. That's why you're going to watch this movie. That's why anyone's going to watch this movie. And it knows that. It's not ashamed of that. It embraces what it is. I mean, let's be honest. You have topless women before the opening credits of this movie. Like, before the opening credits, you see a woman topless. You know what this movie is, and you know right away what this movie is. And kind of tying in with that, the eye candy in this movie is fantastic. Let's be honest, this movie banks on eye candy. It banks on beautiful women and attractive guys. It banks on that. That's what it's counting on. That's what most people are going to watch this movie for. And they nailed it. The guys are buff and strong and stuff. They're traditionally attractive guys. The women are gorgeous and beautiful, and they're wearing, skimpy clothes, showing a lot of skin, or clothes that are really tight and hugging every curve of their body. They really nailed it with the eye candy in this movie. I mean, seriously, there was one female character in this movie. Her entire job was to either wear a bikini or just bikini bottoms and serve coffee. That's all she did. She had a few lines. She wore a bikini. At some points, she wore just bikini bottoms. And she made coffee for people and brought them cups of coffee. That was her entire role in this movie. She didn't do anything else. You know this movie is banking on the eye candy just because of that one thing. Also, in this movie, they did not at all skimp on the explosions. They went to town with them. They really went hog wild. They blew up all sorts of stuff. They blew up cars. They blew up signs. They blew up a chopper. They blew up all kinds of stuff. The explosions were just fantastic. You can tell that's quite possibly where most of the budget went. Between getting the different vehicles and blowing up stuff, that's where the majority of the budget went in this movie, and it's clear, it's obvious, they didn't skimp on that at all, and that is lovely. The cons of this movie? Well, let's just start the ball rolling right away and say Kane was a con of this movie. Let's be honest, this movie is a sequel to Do or Die. Kane was in that movie too, and in that movie, he was played by Pat Morita, which most people will recognize as Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. He is very much Asian. His parents, in real life, Pat Morita's parents were immigrants from Japan. Pat Morita is full-blooded Japanese. In this movie, the role of Kane was played by R.J. Moore. And for those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you, R.J. Moore is the son of Roger Moore, who's best known for being James Bond. They replaced a Japanese guy with a British guy, and you could tell that they originally wanted to get Pat Morita back just by the dialogue. Just things that he was saying were clearly written for someone who's just not supposed to be Asian, who's supposed to, like, the character's supposed to be Asian, but they got a British guy playing it. It just felt weird. Also, to kind of tie in with that, The dialogue in this movie was awkward. You know, what I just mentioned about how the dialogue for Kane was clearly supposed to be spoken by an Asian guy, just by his constant reference of how this person is reliable because he's Asian, and you have honored me. Just obvious things that were supposed to be said by an Asian guy, but here they are being said by a British guy. It just felt weird and awkward and out of place. Also, as far as the dialogue goes, this movie suffers the same fate as a lot of Andy Sedaris' other movies do, where the dialogue isn't so much about having a realistic conversation between the characters, but it's about, saying the plot to the audience, but doing it without directly speaking to the audience. So it's like, I'm going to tell you exactly what these criminals have been doing and what their plans have been and how they've been smuggling these guns and what this nuclear trigger can do and stuff. He's saying that to another character, but it's obvious that he's saying it to tell the plot to the audience. The other character would have already known this stuff. He's clearly just saying it to the audience. It feels awkward. It feels unnatural. The dialogue in this movie is awkward. Also, the acting in this movie is stiff. And I've said this again about every single Andy Sedaris movie, about how the acting is on par with what you see in soap operas and stuff. But for some reason, in this movie, they gave two of the biggest roles to people who were the worst actors they could find, I guess. Roberta Vasquez is not a good actress. She's always trying to be over-the-top badass, and it's like she's trying too hard to be a strong, independent character, and it just comes off as fake. And then another guy who's, honestly, I don't know what his real name was, and I don't care what his real name is. He's not worth remembering because he's just that bad of an actor. Obvious stiff, obviously fake, obviously trying to act. He was just horrible. Luckily, I don't think he's done anything ever since, which is, really good for the movie viewing world, that he doesn't get any more work. His acting in this movie is the worst acting I've ever seen in my life, and I'm talking worse than Tommy Wiseau. My overall thoughts on the movie? I'll admit it, this is a guilty pleasure for me, and I give it 1 thumb up. This is a Girls with Guns movie, and you're going to know if you'd be interested in it before the opening credits are over. You won't get a deep plot or well-developed characters, but that's something you should know just by looking at the box art. If you enjoy Girls with Guns movies, then you should check out Hard Hunted. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel for new action movie reviews posted every week and top 10 lists posted on the 10th of every month. Also, if you have any recommendations for things you would like me to cover in the future, please leave them in the comments below and follow us on Twitter at explosions_TV. Thank you and have a nice day.